What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the best and most disappointing Legend Scale Transformers of 2023. Now, I will admit I have not probably looked at every single Legends figure that's come out this year, but I've looked at a good number of them. And this year I did myself a favor. I give a score at the end of each review from 1 to 5, 1 being strongly not recommended, 5 being strongly recommended. So as we go through this, you'll see the figures that made it into the best category are figures that got a 5, and the figures that made it into most disappointing are 3 or lower. I will admit that most Legends figures this year are all pretty darn good, so even the most disappointing ones aren't very bad. But let's get started. We'll start with the most disappointing figures for the year. Coming in at the number 3 most disappointing for the year is the Metagate Huge Fire, or their version of a Legend Scale Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. Now this figure, not too bad. It's really the vehicle mode that kind of left something to be desired. Also, the copy I got from Dr. Diecast had a broken wrist. Appears the materials on that wrist peg weren't the greatest. But like I said, not the worst figure. It was really just the vehicle mode that kind of brought this guy down. Coming in at number 2 most disappointing is the Dr. Wu Fire Ladder, or their version of a Inferno. Now, some would argue this isn't even Legend Scale. It's actually smaller than Legend Scale, but the reason this made the list is it actually doesn't come with much. It also doesn't have a waist swivel. Some of the articulation a little bit limited. And for the price point that these are at, which are similar to some Legend Scale, it does seem like you're not getting a lot for your money. And that's why this one came in at number 2 most disappointing. Coming in at number 1 most disappointing for the year was the Magic Square Meteorite, or their version of Skyfire. And yes, this was the year of Skyfire. But for me, this was a disappointing one because it did come after New Age, so I expected them to have some improvements. And it was really the materials and the transformation that just weren't great. There's some waffly bits as well on the backpack, and that's why this guy comes in at number 1. And getting the honorable mention for 2023 for best figures is the New Age Firefox, or their version of Skyfire. And this actually came out in 2022, but all of the repaints came out in 2023, and the repaints were phenomenal. The paint job was just excellent. The overall articulation was a little bit improved because things were a little bit tighter. So that's why this comes in with the honorable mention. Coming in at number 3 best for the year is the Magic Square Night Tracer, or their version of Onslaught. And one of the reasons this is in this list is that it really does a lot for a Legend Scale figure. It's got all 3 modes well done. The robot mode, vehicle mode, and the torso mode for the combiner. It really looks good in all modes, and it's got really good articulation, good accessories. The backpack actually works in the vehicle mode, which was kind of surprising. And that's why this guy comes in at number 3 best for the year. Coming in at number 2 best for the year is the New Age Fryer, or their version of Swoop. This guy really kind of surprised me. The blast effects are something special. Nobody else has done that. The robot mode works really well. They don't have floppy legs or feet like most Swoops out there, and it just looks so darn good. I also want to throw Ritasaurus in here. That was another good Dinobot from New Age. So that's why this comes in at number 3. And coming in at the number 1 best Legend Scale Transformer for the year is the New Age Michael, or their version of Omega Supreme. And I don't think there'll be any surprises when people see this in the video. This figure is really phenomenal. For the size and the overall complexity of what it has to do, the articulation is really amazing. It doesn't have any like cool light up features or anything like that. The tank does go along the treads, which was very nostalgic, but it's really just a very well executed figure, and that's why it's number 1. So there you have it, the best and most disappointing Legend Scale Transformers for 2023. And some of these I think people expected, others they might be surprised. We had a really good year for Legends. There's actually a lot that came out. A lot of people moving that way with their collections. And of course, to make this video, I did have to kind of tally things up. So here's the count of figures, at least according to the reviews that I did. And you can see New Age has 8, Magic Square with 6, although that number might be higher if I'm missing some reviews I didn't do. And then Dr. Wu, DX9, and Metagate. So Legends really taking off this year. But that's really it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.